Yeah.
Yes, this is the box right here at the YALI Alumni Expo and Trade Show. This is the first edition of the trade show, bringing together alumni from all over the continent to discuss the future of Africa. And talking about this future, you can't talk about the future without journalists. And I believe journalists play a very crucial role in promoting good leadership across Africa. Very many countries in Africa, we have like almost the same challenges. You could be talking corruption, instability, political instability. Of course, and the media now act as a very powerful force for accountability. Now, today we have Kadijah Bokum, who is a journalist with the Gambia radio and television services. But importantly, she's a YALI alumni as well. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So you are an alumni. Before we get to your job as a journalist, which track are you in and which RLC and all that?
I am an alumni of the RLC Ghana, cohort 14 online,
Okay.
and also a Mandela Washington Fellowship 2023.
Okay. What motivated you to apply to the YALI program?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Well, as a young person who is very passionate about societal changes in the Gambia, looking at the present issues that are happening, especially when it comes to youth-related matters, women and children, I decided that I need to be a YALI fellow because this program provides a very unique platform whereby young people can make changes in their countries by interacting with young people from different countries in Africa who face similar challenges.
Yeah.
So coming together, learning from each other and being able to cooperate these ideas back home. I applied for the YALI RLC. That was in 2020 during the COVID period. So we had to do it online under civic leadership because I advocate for the improvement of rural education in the Gambia way back in 2018 with my foundation. So with the foundation, we have been doing a lot of work. Then I decided to apply for the YALI whereby I can improve more by helping young vulnerable children in the Gambia. Then from there in 2023 as well, in order to improve my work in terms of civic leadership, public management, because I work with the state media and I work with children in terms of improving quality education in the rural Gambia, I applied to learn from other fellows. That is to gain these experiences. So when I get back home, I can be able to add this into the work that I'm doing in the Gambia.
That's nice. You mentioned your organization. Please tell us more about this organization and tell us your role in this organization.
Okay. KB Foundation, it's a foundation that cares for the health and education of underprivileged children in the rural Gambia. It was founded by me in 2018. That was during my birthday. So every year I celebrate my birthday with friends. So in 2018, I decided that this money that I'm using to go to the restaurant or to have fun with friends, there are so many children who are in the Gambia, especially in the rural area of the Gambia. I come from the rural area in Kantora, and back then, going to school, there were so many struggles when it comes to educational resources, access to quality education. Then I said to myself, first, I have to help these children. Then I went to the hospital. I did a donation before going to rural Gambia. Then from there, I got this motivation. Okay, this is a very good idea. Then I founded the foundation. I registered it. Then we started sponsoring few children in the rural Gambia. That is paying some of them their school fees, and others we provide learning materials like book, pencils, pens, that is to support their education, and also mentorship in the Gambia. So that's what we have been doing, and we have also been advocating, or let me say, I have been advocating through my radio and television programs, that is in terms of policies, in terms of advocacy, that is so that this children who are in the rural Gambia can also have the same quality of education as children who are in the urban Gambia, because oftentimes you see that rural children suffer a lot when it comes to having access to quality education, access to quality health facilities. Not much attention is being paid to these areas. So I think it's high time that young people get involved in that area. So that is how this foundation came about.
Nice. You talked about your work as a journalist now. You work with Gambia radio and television services, and you really see a lot of stories, tell a lot of stories, write a lot of stories. What is the situation like in the Gambia? What is like in your newsroom every day? The kind of stories you interact with that are touching on the youth. What is the bulk of it looking like?
Well, Yes, I work with the state media, which is the Gambia Radio and Television Services, and I would say for the past 5 to 6 years, there has been a lot of improvement when it comes to the media in the Gambia. Because looking back in the past 22 years, we are under dictatorship, that is the regime of the former president, whereby the media was censored. There was nothing like democracy, there was nothing like freedom of speech. But with the new transitional government or with the new dispensation of democracy, the newsroom has changed. You could see that now we are at liberty to cover certain stories, stories that are constructive. I would say it's not totally free, because when it comes to the state, there are other informations that are censored. So we cover different stories when it comes to education, entertainment, health, and these are areas that we try to highlight the challenges that are going in as much as we are state media. We also try to talk about the challenges that Gambian people are facing and where the government needs to come in as well to improve. So through my radio programs, I host Good Morning Gambia Today, that is on the radio, which is one of the main current affairs shows, whereby we bring in stakeholders and also other people who are involved into changes in the society. That is to talk about issues that are happening when it comes to youth, when it comes to women, when it comes to children. And the same thing applies to the television as well. So the newsroom, I would say it is free now. There is democracy, though access to data is a very big problem in the Gambia. It's a very small country, so we are still improving. So many institutions need improvement, even though the government is doing really well. But I feel like when it comes to the media as well, there needs to be a lot of improvement, like capacity building, a lot of training, because oftentimes we have so many people who are called that they call themselves journalists, but the understanding of the ethics of journalism, it's not there. And once this is lacking in that area, then there is a problem.
Okay. Nice. So that's like the tableau of journalism, the content creators and everyone. Everyone has a camera now. Everyone has a phone. Everyone has a microphone.
Right.
And they want to tell stories, but now the basics, now the rules, now the ethics and all that.
Yes.
Nice. So let's talk about you being an alumni now, because now we have understood your foundation. We have talked about you being on radio, being on air, on TV as well.
Right.
Can you share some instances where alumni support from the RLC is actually motivated or uplifted you as a person?
Sorry?
Can you share instances where alumni support from the RLCs motivated you or uplifted you?
Alumni from the RLC that motivated me?
Yeah, alumni support.
All right. There are so many young people that are doing so well when it comes to leadership positions in Africa. So recently, a colleague of mine in Sierra Leone, who is also into advocacy when it comes to the promotion of empowerment of girls in Sierra Leone, we have been supporting each other in different initiatives. So she had this public speaking event for young people in Sierra Leone, where I got the privilege to serve as an observer online. So for me, this supports, and also a journalist as well, who is from Nigeria, who currently founded his own organization, telling the stories of Africa, something like that. So we have been supporting each other, we have been helping each other, and through the alumni support, I would say I have learned a lot. I've been able to collaborate with other young people, and I've been able to also understand my strength, because looking at the fact that you come together with different people from different countries, from different cultures, from different backgrounds, you get to learn a lot. For me, that alone, it is support, because there you get to learn, where do I need to improve? What challenges am I facing? What am I learning from this person? How do I need to incorporate that into my work that I'm doing? You don't get to talk a lot sometimes, but when there's something much important that is going on, you get to learn. Like example, you are nominated for something whereby you need the vote of so many people. It doesn't matter whether it's in your country or outside. You reach out to your fellow alumni and say, hey, I'm being awarded for this, but I need your support in this. I'm working on this project. I need you to help me. Like recently, I was applying for a project. I called an alumni from Nigeria. I'm like, okay, you got a funding from this, that is from the alumni funding. I'll need you to guide me through. And he was very helpful, really. So for me, that support alone, the community is really huge. And the physical support is there, the emotional support is there, the professional support is there. What I mean by physical is that we come in together, you know, discussing things, working together. Like when you have a project that you are working on and you know you cannot handle that, you just reach out to your fellow alumni and they come on board to help. So
Are you getting support from the RLC though? Like enough support from the RLC?
Yes, not from the RLC itself, but like I'm a Mandela Washington Fellowship. So back in my country, I have a very close relationship with the US Embassy, and I've attended most of their events. And I've been invited, that is to host interviews for them, and also with the ambassador. And recently, our summit is coming up, that is to celebrate the Mandela Washington 10 years anniversary, where I would be one of the host of the event. So I've got a lot of support, and I am an executive member of the Women Journalists Association in the Gambia. So through that as well, we were able to get like $15,000 funding from the United States Embassy in the Gambia. That is in terms of reporting on sensitive issues that are affecting women, like female genital mutilation, because this is a very big issue in the Gambia that is currently going on, even though the government has banned that, but still we have so many people that are doing this thing. So with being an alumni, I would say I've really gotten the support. And with that RLC, even being here alone, for me, I think it is support. It is a support. Getting to reconnect again with fellow alumni that I've not seen for a while, and also getting to meet new people and building new connections and collaborations. That alone is quite enough.
Yeah, it is. Nice. So let's say you are the RLC chief of party, or the person who is leading Mandela Washington Foundation right now. Let's just say, if you were, what top 3 changes will you implement to improve YALI RLC training, or YALI training, or Mandela Washington Foundation training?
That's a tough one, but a very good question. For me, I would say more of capacity building. I would like to bring alumni together, even if it's not every year, but probably every 2 years, or have more of online trainings, even though the YALI RLC is doing that. But I think there are so many people who are focused in different areas, and even though the RLC is doing so much well, that is building our capacities, I think a lot more needs to be done, because every single day we get to learn. You are in the health factors. The world is revolving, and innovation is now taking place. So when you have more of capacity building programs for these young people who are doing very well in their different career, let's say in journalism, in health, in finance, then you get to improve their professional abilities or their professional stance, that is to enhance their career growth as well. So for me, I would focus more on capacity building and also giving out more fun. They're giving out funding, but there needs to be more fun, because we have so many projects that we want to work on, but oftentimes you get to apply not once, not twice, and you don't get it. And only few people get to get this funding, maybe 2 or 3 in a year or 4. I feel like the number is really small. Looking at the challenges that we have back home, we have a lot of challenges when it comes to health, when it comes to education, when it comes to finance, when it comes to public management. So if you don't have the funding sometimes, I'm not saying you cannot do it on your own, because sometimes you don't need to have the funding. You can even start by little. You know, even advocacy, I would say you're making an effective change. But when the funding is there, you can be able to implement some of the projects that you have, and that is to make change in your society. So these are the 2 areas I would say I would focus more on.
Nice. That's a very good vision. That's maybe if it happens, we'll definitely follow up with you and see how that goes with you. So about your organization, how do we get with you? How do we get in touch with you? How do we get to do business with you if there's somebody who would love to do that?
I'm on social media, KB Foundation, and I would also share my email. You can reach out to me or our communications manager. That is to collaborate in terms of improving access to quality education. I'm open to work with any person who is willing to collaborate, because for me this is something that I'm really passionate about, looking at the challenges that rural children face. Recently we had a flood in the Gambia that was flooding in the northern part of the Gambia. So within almost 6 to 5 months, some of these children were not going to school, some were sitting on the floor, some their families were displaced. So all of these challenges coupled together, it's really disheartening that they don't get much support to stand back on their feet. And when this happens in the urban area, you see people coming out to support. But when it comes to the rural area, mostly they are marginalized. And for me, that is something that I think we need to work on, which is where my foundation comes in. Well, we are trying. It is a very challenging situation for us, because most of the funding comes out of our pocket. Yes. When it comes to donating book supplies. When it comes to mentorship programs, we sponsor almost everything. It's just once in a while sometimes to get donations from Good Samaritans that are willing to support the cause that we are working towards. But it's a really huge challenge, and I hope to collaborate more with people. It doesn't have to be maybe financial collaboration, even in kind. You have books that you want to supply, we are open for it. You have old school shoes, old school bags, or you want to support maybe 10 children with school uniforms. All of that, it goes a long way. You might see it as something little, but trust me, that will have a very huge impact in the life of these young people who are really in need of it.
Thank you so much for your time, Kadijah, and we hope to, of course, catch up with you later in the future.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and do tell them about the box. Do tell them more about YALI legacy localization when you're back in the Gambia. I've talked to a good friend of mine called Bubo just a few minutes ago.
Yes.
And the way he's passionate about climate action, leadership, and all that. I think the youth in the Gambia are so lucky to have you and like-minded youths as well. So everything that you talked about is so important. Everything that you talked about the role of journalism in shaping good leadership across Africa, it's very key.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Thank you.